So we're gonna do this whole thing today.
Yep. Are you ready? How is everybody? Hanging in there? Doing okay? Yeah. I was so excited it was like gonna be cooler this week, and now it's still so hot. Stop it, right? But I have have any of you seen K-pop?
Yes.
So you saw it last night? I saw it yesterday at the sing-along. I went to a sing-along yesterday and it was so good. Like I loved it. Like I low-key, I was like, I go see it again. And my poor children also, they've been making me listen to this for weeks. And I hadn't actually watched it.
Yeah, here's really yeah.
The
movie's
music
really
is
good.
like really catchy, right? And so then we went to the movie theater yesterday and we watched it, and the whole way home I was like, I want to listen to the music now. Like I was so good. And all I have in my head is like soda pop. Like so I'm up here like singing in my head, like
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. Yeah.
As a Korean,
Yeah.
they had a lot of like queer references and things like that. I didn't think that would be good going into it.
I didn't either.
But it's fire.
It was so good. And it was like there were good messages and they were treating like vulnerable ways. And like I left there and I was like, that was so good. And my middle child was like, that was horrible. I was like, well, why did you make me go then? And she felt like I hated it so like it's so like overdone and whatever. And I'm like, as somebody who fights like anxiety and has a hard time with who you are, I thought you would connect with the messages. And she's like, stop being such a psychologist. I'm like, oh my gosh, my 11-year-old is like so mean to me. But I loved it and I'm up here with soda pop.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact, it was made by the same people who made like the Spider-Verse series.
Okay, yeah.
Like so it's like those are people who have like those are pretty good anime.
Yes, it was great. And my 13-year-old didn't want to go when we went to see it, and the whole time in the theater she was just like so excited. And the two of us are just tapping along and all these kids screaming and singing. So anyway, I felt like I should share with you that soda pop is on repeat in my mind right now.
Okay.
Could be worse, I suppose. I've definitely had worse in there than that. But anyway, I hope you all have a nice weekend. Mine was filled with K-pop, right? Could be worse. We have an exciting day today. I'm excited. Are you feeling a little excited? No, you're like, no. Okay, so a couple of things first. So I am no longer gonna take attendance, okay, as promised. So I'm gonna pass around a sign-in sheet. I just printed this just before my last class. So if your name's not on here, you're not technically enrolled. So make sure you check with me if that's the case. This is straight from the computer roster system. So if you want to go by something else, change it on here and I'll update it for next week. Okay, so if your like legal name that's printed on here is not what you prefer, change it and I'll update it, okay? So this isn't worth any points. It just helps me keep track of who's here, which might come in handy if like, there's a discrepancy at some point or someone needs to know the last time someone was present. But you can put your initials or your name and just have it kind of wander through the room. But I'll pass that around every 5 from here on out, which gives us a couple of minutes back. It's kind of exciting. From there, or from here, what we'll do is I'm going to have you get back into your groups for a few minutes. So let me bring up this slide here. I'm going to have you get back into your groups and just kind of finalize everything. So a few things before I have you do that. So we are literally in maybe 15 minutes or so. I'm going to be sending you out into the world to ask people these questions. Okay, so what I want you to figure out as a group is how you're going to specifically do this. That's what I want you to focus on today, kind of touch base, and then how are you going to ask these questions and record the answers. And so if you are terrified at the prospect of walking up to someone and asking how many times they masturbate or whatever question you want to know, right? As a group, most of you have like 2 or 3 people. Okay, so what you could do is have one person ask the questions, one person record the answers, and one person observe. You could all ask the questions together, right? It's totally up to you. But as a group, make sure all your things are written down. Make sure you're clear on how you want to proceed, right? When you walk up to someone or a group of someone's, what are you going to do, right? Make sure you kind of map that out because it's going to happen in like 15 minutes, okay? Decide who's going to ask, how you're going to record the information in a way that makes sense to you. Make sure that you have a method that is meaningful, right? So again, like it could be by person, some of you came up with like electronic things, it could be on a piece of paper. But what will happen is I'll send you out I'm gonna give you about 30 minutes for this. I'm gonna give you a good chunk of our time. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about it and I'll have you kind of turn in a sheet with your names on it for credit. Okay, so go ahead and find your group of people. If you have any questions or need help, raise your hand and I'll like find my way over. But find your group of people, connect with them and make sure you have a plan.
So we have that.
You guys have each other, perfect. Just got into our groups. One, two. All right, let's see. I love it. Very well. Okay, and what'll be interesting is to be based on how we ask it.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we just got here where you're not gonna be. I'm gonna be in the room or like, okay, what is it? It's up to you. Yeah, I don't think the coffee or comfortable comes fine. I know it's warm. It's not as bad as last year, but it's still warm.
No, bro.
Okay. Yeah. Usually it's okay. I'm on this one here. But hopefully you'll find some. I have different places for them. Yeah. Yeah. I'm class.
And then I'll see if I can figure out.
Psyched was exciting. I love it.
I love that, I'm so excited.
Good, I'm glad.
I did too. There's a few like that.
Yeah. Questions, so that's people thanks. It's fun. There was like one other people this is long, it's even younger, so like every now and then get up and start dancing and stuff. It was like
Ours was it's not a dog song.
Really?
It was I'm pretty cool in the city. Middle of the day on Saturday. Sunday. But and it was so much fun. I was like, I go see it again if it's still there. I'll see anything with their popcorn.
Yeah. Alright.
You guys feeling ready? Feeling good? Okay.
Yeah.
Questions? You all set?
How about questions about that?
It's up to you, right? So,
Okay.
so you're thinking about.
Yeah.
We're thinking.
Yeah, this is
Really fun, right?
We'll just be wherever you can find, right? So there's no limit for like you. Yeah.
So that's what it said.
Hesitation.
Just trying to figure out
I'm gonna give you all just like another minute or two, and then we'll talk about some guidelines, and then we'll do it.
Sorry, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I saw straight. It's not enough to
Because I feel like everyone like, yeah. What family, one of the kids starts acting weird. What was the attitude? Like, we're start getting slammed, or like they're waking up. I know, and then they call the exorcist, and then they fight the demon for a little bit, and the demon leaves. It's just crazy.
They did, they put their patterns on.
They see them.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the concrete one. So we were gonna watch it last night, actually, and then it just didn't happen, but it's on my list. It was so much more important, but it's on my, like, I'm excited to see it, because it's so, it was the number 2 movie this weekend.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Is it
Yeah,
good?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I think next point, fire is entire team.
Okay.
Or not. I Yes.
But I'm very excited. I'll tell you when I get it. What do you know?
Definitely watch the movie.
Like, really? Okay. And we were gonna run it at home, just because like.
It's good,
Yeah.
yeah.
But it looks very good. I'm excited. I love the lady. It's a good time of year for it.
I know. It's one comes out. And his personal perspective about it, I like it all. Okay, yeah.
The dog is like, they
A best
see
friend
them.
was like,
See the ghost.
seeing them. It's the mom,
They have a different. Okay. But I'm on this too. Yeah, no. Cool. Are we ready? Are we ready? We've all gone to, I hear like a horror movie. I'm ready, it's that time of year, right? Okay, so I have a couple of things I want to talk about before I send you out into the world, okay? I didn't do this the first time I did this, and I got in trouble, but it was worth doing, it's okay. So I have a couple of things I want to do. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. Okay, so what I want to do, I created some different areas for us to go to. Now, since there's only 6 groups, we could skip the one down the hill so you don't have to walk so far. Or that might just be me. If someone wants to go down there, that's fine. But does anyone want to take the performing arts building area? Okay, so that's your main area. So this is like your hub. I want you to stay near. You can kind of go out a little bit from there, but try and stay in that meeting zone. How about the cafeteria bookstore? Oh, I think you were very okay. So back there, anyone want to go down the hill? Want to skip down? I wouldn't want to walk down the hill if I don't have to, right? Okay, Fountain Hall. Okay, so Fountain Hall, that'll be your main area. The library. Okay, got it. This building. Is there anyone we did you? Okay, so you all get Raider Walk, which is a whole lot.
Oh, that's all.
Right? Somebody took the library, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you did, okay. So a couple of things. So this is your main area. The main area that you have is where I want you to kind of mainly stay. You can ask people in other areas. I just don't want like everyone on Raider Walk to be asked like 15 times, right?
Yeah.
Or 6 times, I guess.
Yeah, it's gotta at least spread it out.
Right, so now you're spread out a little bit. Okay, a couple of ground rules, okay? Obviously, I did not think I needed to say this, but I've learned my lesson. Please do not go into a classroom, okay? I had students go into a classroom and interrupt a class, and I heard it from my dean. Please do not go into a classroom, okay? I hope that's obvious, but obviously don't go into a class. If you walk up to someone, or when you walk up to someone, I would like you to start with something like, I'm in a class. Okay, don't just start with you masturbate. Okay, so preface it a little bit, right? I'm in a human sexuality class. We're doing some research. Would you be willing to participate, right? Ask consent, right? Would they be willing to participate? If they say no, that's interesting information too. Move on, okay? So if they say no, let it go. There is no like minimum number I'm making you have, okay? If you only get 1 or 2 people, that's fine. If you get way more than that, that's amazing, right? But if they say no, move on, okay? Not a problem at all. Let's see, record your data. Okay, so somebody write it down, somebody record it. Some of you created like digital surveys, which is fantastic. Just make sure you record it so that you can make sense of it. When you come back in here, what we'll do is I have a couple of questions I'm going to have you think about as a group. So I'll leave this up when you come back. You can kind of jot them down on a piece of paper. That's what you'll turn into me with your names to get credit for the activity. But I want you to think about these things when you come back, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So it is 10:18 right now. Let's try and be back by 10:50 at the latest. Okay, so just please be kind of mindful of time so we have time to talk about it together. 10:50, I'm gonna stay in here. You're welcome to leave your stuff, or you can take it with you. Good luck, my little sexologist. I will figure out how it goes. You've got this. I have faith in you. Right.
Dude, you know what's crazy?
You got a gift?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
She was offering it to everybody, but
No, but not really.
You couldn't explain like, I don't know, I'm straight, but I like.
So take some time as a group, and on a piece of paper that you're gonna turn into me, answer these questions on it. Jot down some thoughts. I'm dying to hear out what, but I want you to get those thoughts down so you can turn that in. So just take a few minutes, try and make sense of what you found out, write those thoughts down, and then we'll talk about it together. I feel like
Yeah.
I wanna say something though. I feel like this.
Alrighty.
You have sex, providing options, like, what's the most things that are blindly. Or dating.
Answer the question. It's awesome.
You got 36 people? Wow, that might be a record.
We have the strap.
Where were you? Were you in the library? I love it.
Oh, that's
Comfortable, let me hold this.
That was like,
44% say.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, exactly. But actually, yeah, hard, like, yeah, that's like a way easier to do with Christian, like the posting. You know, it's like, you know, like, one better.
options, just because, I mean, I guess they should.
Yeah, no, that, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if there's, you don't have to lose, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Back to.
Yeah, just one with all your names.
Okay, yeah.
First and last name, so I can record your point. So make sure you write all your first and last names on a piece of paper to turn in, okay? So I can give you points for your activity.
We'll have.
I think.
Right, so I mean, this. Right, so.
Give me just a few more minutes because I'm dying to hear how it went, okay? So there's a few more minutes, so we can talk.
Let me just put this here. This here, so you have like.
Well, I feel like one issue is like. I like women a lot, like this answer, we don't know what they're.
Everyone looks.
We don't know that, we don't know, I should have put like.
Yeah.
But it's all learning experience.
Yeah, the year.
We'll do it again.
But it's like, I think, I actually record from that, I think it's probably like longer. Yeah, and then probably just next time, and then I'll just, yeah. Maybe it was like, well, yeah, not verifying. Maybe.
Also, limitation is like, I feel like.
Assembly would be.
Like the people being qualified to. Well, we should have like, how many years did we have?
Okay.
Oh, you guys have to be cool. And I mean.
That is very much for that.
And so,
Right.
well, simply to choose the right one. Like a display, we just do the.
First times I want to give you. So what I'll do, let's bring it back to our big group.
So another safety.
I'm so curious to hear. Ready? I'm so curious to hear how it went. So, does anyone want to share, like, okay, so what did you want to know? And just kind of a little overview of how it went. Yeah.
So we basically asked about people's sexual identity and gender expression.
Okay.
We asked people like how old they were when they realized their identity. We asked people how society affects their sexual identity and gender expression. We asked people
You wrote the questions on our paper. How many people did you get? Seven people. Okay, that's a really good number. Do you feel like you got some good information?
There's a big variety in the answer.
Okay, that's great. Okay. And anyone else? What else? What did you want to know? How did it go? Just kind of a little overview. Yeah.
We had questions about pornography.
Okay. Sure. You had a lot of people.
36 spots.
36 people. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and your group used a like QR code so that the cool thing about doing that, I know a few of you did that, is you get just like instant data.
Yeah.
It's just like so gratifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our group noticed that once we mentioned that it was a Google form, people were willing to answer.
Yeah.
Like they said no at first, and then we were like, "Oh, it's a Google form." They're like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
I scan it and log in.
And that is a really interesting, like, as you can see, piece of information, because if you have something that's a little more anonymous that way, people are often way more willing than if you have to ask the questions verbally to them, which could be a little off-putting, right?
No, that's funny that you said that, just because like we asked all our questions like in person, so like we asked them like face to face,
Yeah.
and it was fun because we got to see like their body language and
Yes.
stuff like that, and how like they were uncomfortable. Like one of our teammates, reported that and stuff like that, so we got like the different like just like how people were comfortable with certain questions but uncomfortable with other questions.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really interesting too.
And the advantages and disadvantages both, right? Because asking them that way, you might get less people
Yeah.
who are willing to respond, but you get all those nuances.
Yeah.
Versus the other way, like they're more willing, but you lose a little bit.
Yeah, we got half and half, and we
Yeah.
got half the people who wanted to answer, half were like, no, thank you, or they just completely ignored us.
Okay.
Some girls, felt more comfortable and they would chit chat with us, like, some people shit, I mean, guys, it was really
I'm like, what?
Yeah, and they were like, okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, you know.
And what did you want to know, and how many people did you end up with?
We asked 6 different people.
Okay.
Oh, 7. Yeah, so we asked 7 different people. And I feel like we asked kind of like some of like the basic like borderline questions, like what age were people when they lost their virginity?
Okay.
How many how many their body counts, I guess. How many body counts, they're like their main things that they had. A lot of people were uncomfortable with that question, or they weren't sure what it meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they were like, what is that? And I was like, oh, okay, so like you have to explain it, or like how many times have people masturbated? That was another question. Yeah.
They're like, I don't know. Right. So how many, by show of hands, ran into like somebody didn't know what you meant when you asked them a question at any point? Right? Okay, so a lot of you, there were a couple other groups. What did you want to know? How did it go? We'll go ahead and go back to you.
Weirdly, we got more men.
More men? Okay.
Yeah, like they were just walking with the AirPods and I was like, yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you want to know? How many people did you get?
So we got around 37.
37. Ooh,
38.
38.
And then our question was like, when did you know your sexuality?
Okay.
And so we got a pretty broad spectrum of demographics. We also asked like those with over age 2 that were responding.
And you gave them a QR code as
Yeah,
well, right?
57-year-old.
Awesome. Okay, good range.
Yeah.
I like that.
Whenever we said that it was like anonymous and it was just it,
Okay.
willing to do it. But yeah, it was pretty.
Did anyone have someone say no?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right, interesting, okay, we'll come back to that. Okay, so what did you want to know and how did it go?
Well, I think one thing that was really interesting is we gave people the option of either a QR code or like here in person. Yeah, well, because I just really wanted to see what people's answers were. So I was really curious. To, like,
Honestly, that could be research all by itself.
yeah,
right?
it was really interesting because like most of the people that I asked wanted to be asked in person.
Okay.
Except for one girl. But yeah,
She's like,
yeah, well she started, she was like, oh, you can ask me in person. I was like, okay, and then I got to the second question, she's like, can I
Just
kidding.
kidding.
That's fine.
I regret my life choices.
Yeah, but no, it was really interesting, and it was also one thing that, so we asked people like what their sexual orientation was and how they had come to realize their sexual orientation.
Okay.
It was really interesting to me, like how many people like put straight, and then they're like, I was just always straight, and it's like it's really interesting because like I'm straight, but that wouldn't be the answer that I put, because I can remember like my early experience with being, yeah, like, you know, and it's like, it's just interesting how many people were like. Kind of confused when I asked that question, and they're like, well, of course I'm straight, because that's just what you automatically are. I don't know, it was just an interesting attitude that.
Okay. Yeah, and that kind of stuff is really interesting to see what pops up, the things that people say as they answer,
Yeah.
whatever. And I love, I mean, it could literally have been like, would you rather do it virtually or
Yeah.
in person? Okay, we're done, what was the survey?
We got like
I mean, that
12.
could be
We got
interesting.
12, and I think we got more people in person, I think, right? We
Okay.
got more people that we asked in person than,
Then what they should work.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who have I missed? You guys didn't go yet, right? What did you wanna know? How did it go?
We were trying to like investigate the amount of times people had sex in different stages of relationships.
Okay,
So
great,
we kind of were struggling because we only could ask college students.
sure.
We couldn't get like long-term relationship status, but we did. And the other issue was we only got 3 of our 10 people were in relationships.
Oh, okay, yeah, because you can't control what you end up with, right? So that made it a little challenging, I can imagine. Any other kind of general?
90% of the people, yes.
We're men. Okay. Yeah, it's tricky because you went out there and you're at kind of like the mercy of what you run into, right? And some questions I think make that easier than others. How many of you at some point feel like you were lied to? Anybody? You were like, yes.
Yeah, I swear, I was like, are you sure? I literally asked them, I'm like, are you sure? I was like, you could be straight up with me. I was like, I'm not like, I do this and this and this, and they're like, okay, well, maybe it's this one. I was like, I knew it, I knew it.
So you helped them be a little more
More comfortable, yeah.
And there were a couple other hands. Any other thoughts on that? Yeah.
This one, where like I asked for what the sex. Oh, great, and then she pauses, she's like, is this anonymous? And I was like, yeah, completely, and she's like, oh, forget it, I'm bi.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Let's change my answer.
I mean,
I was straight until you asked me. Right, I could go so many directions right today, right? Anyone else on that note, like lied to, or maybe somebody didn't know? Yeah.
I don't feel like we've been lied to, but I do feel like one thing. Oh,
You were
sorry.
like, yes, you were, yes.
Sorry. It's like, I don't wanna talk about the previous one. It's like, I think like the reason why that they feel like that whole interaction happened was because, well, it makes sense given how badly the government is kind of going. So it's like, there could be a chance that we might have to start like kind of hiding it from like stuff like publicly online surveys or stuff like that.
Okay,
We might have to hide, we might have to start hiding from that. And it's like, so that we won't immediately get targeted.
well, these are sensitive topics,
Yes,
right? Like,
yes,
how
these are
often
fair.
you have sex, how often you masturbate, your orientation, pornography, these aren't normal, like typical questions somebody would ask you on a daily basis, right? And so I can see why people would be uncomfortable answering them. It seems like a lot of you kind of got through that, but it could easily be something that somebody doesn't want to answer. How about in terms of like dynamics, right? Like I don't know if any of you went up to somebody who was alone versus in a group, or your dynamic as a group, if you feel like that might have influenced anything, any thoughts there? Yeah.
We noticed that like it was a lot easier to approach them individually.
Individually.
Right.
Okay. So the way that you approach them might have affected that a little bit. Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I feel like on this, like when I walked up to like a single person, I was just like minding my own business, they were okay with saying no, but
Okay.
it was like a group of people, like 2 people, they were like, looked at each other like, okay, we can do that.
Okay, right. Are you good with it? Yes, okay, okay, okay. And sometimes their dynamic or your dynamic can really alter their comfort or willingness, yeah?
I think for us, the 3 of us all approached whoever we were trying to approach at
Together.
once, yeah.
Mhm.
But I made sure that, or I think we all made sure that we introduced the survey very quickly. So we were like, hey, would you mind just filling this out? It's completely anonymous. It's not gonna ask you for your name or your email or anything.
Right,
Right, and then that was it. Like they would say yes or no after that, you know.
okay. So you didn't really give them an opportunity to overthink it too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like we laid it all out, like this is what it's gonna be, you know. And then I think there were a couple of times when we went to bigger groups and they all were kind of like, I don't know, they all just kind of like took it together, I guess. There's
Okay,
one group that I'm thinking of specifically.
sure.
Yeah, we could hear them laughing about it. Yeah.
Here, we'll back off and let you laugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else, like dynamics of things? Yeah.
We asked the people, what's that place called, the campus center?
Okay.
In like the little place in the cafeteria, like the office, yeah. And like everybody in there got excited and wanted to answer. Yeah, and they also, by the way, they were like, there was one lady who was like, if you have anyone else who wants to ask us other surveys, I will fill them out. Just send them. Yeah, and we didn't have any time. If anyone still wants samples, if you want to do extra work, she literally asked for more people. So
That's exciting.
Yeah.
All right. I love that willingness.
yeah.
Anybody else, anything over here, like group dynamic wise, anything like affect like the people you asked or anything over here with that? The group? Oh, yeah.
So we try to stay away from people that were in groups because they're asked to be.
Okay, and it could very easily, right? You get that group think mentality can sometimes emerge where sometimes that can work in our benefit and other times it can be detrimental. Yeah. You were, okay. What, was there a reason or you're just nervous about it or?
No, we were just like scared that once they saw the questions, they would be like, what kind of questions would be?
Sure, okay. Interesting, so maybe a little bit of your hesitation affecting like who you ended up with, and that's fair too, right? Like, I don't know, I'd be a little nervous. I think I'd be excited, but like, I could see how it could be something that's very like nerve-wracking. I know a few of you were a little nervous about it. If you were to do it again, which we're not doing, right? It's done, which you might be happy or sad about, I don't know, right? I mean, you're welcome to do this as a career if you loved it, right? But if you were to do it again, would you change anything? Okay, what would you change if you could do it again? Yeah.
Forgot to ask about you.
Okay, so you missed a piece of information that you would have liked to have. Okay, other people, if you could do it again, yeah.
You wanted to clarify, like, before we even got to the question, the difference between gender identity and sexual orientation.
Yes.
We asked a lot of people, like, what's your sexual orientation? And they're like, oh, male. Oh, and we're like, like, that's awesome. And then can you tell me who you're like, what'd you say?
Yeah.
Like, clarify that beforehand so that they don't have that initial confusion.
Yes, and I love that you brought that up, right? Both really good points of things that are important. So if you walk out to someone and you say, what's your orientation? They'll tell you male, right? Then you're kind of at a loss, right? And so oftentimes, and we're learning these things in here, so we're going to be more comfortable with them. But oftentimes things that we think people know, they might not. And that can really desperately like impact your results, right? If you ask orientation and they don't know the difference between gay, straight, bi, asexual, whatever it might be, is that information going to be worth anything? If you ask them their gender identity and they're like straight, right? Like again, like it's not going to help you, right? So sometimes defining sex, you could ask someone, how often do you masturbate? That could mean different things to different people. Or what is your gender identity? Or what do you watch pornography, right? That could be different things to different people. Fight it out, right?
I feel like one of the people that's just like, there's like one person who said, oh, do you consume porn? It's like, oh, no. And it's like kind of had this like kind of surprise like sound. It's like it's kind of like the sense of like it's like the sense of sound where it's like yeah, like that. Yeah, like that. That's what I mean. It's like it definitely sounded like from what I heard from that, it's like, oh yeah, they probably didn't answer correctly, but
okay. So even the way that you phrase something, right? Like do you consume versus do you watch or do you read or do you look at? Like the words you use could also affect it. Do you want to?
Yeah, so with our survey, I was on the main survey, but I kind of like, I dumbed it down. I gave them options to choose from, you know? So I think that might have made it a little easier, like
Yeah.
instead of giving them like an open-ended, like what is your sexuality, like giving them options to choose from.
Yeah, right. And so you're kind of limiting it because if you leave it open-ended, you could get anything,
Yeah.
which could be interesting, but it might not give you the answer that you want. Yes, and generally we like to put ourselves in boxes. The hard thing is that our boxes can change. And they can change like minute to minute, day to day, or it could be years, right? And that's a tricky one with research. So what I wanted you to see is how complicated this can be, but also how fun it can be. I think this can be a lot of fun. And I hope you had a, no, did you say no? Hopefully some of you had fun doing it, or at least it was interesting. This kind of research is so hard because there are so many issues. And we talked about this a little bit before, right? Like if I go back to this slide, are we getting like good results if people don't know what terms mean, right? If you were to ask them in different situations, one person versus a group of people, men versus women versus like, you're not sure, like different identities, right? That could change the results that we get, right? Who's willing to answer versus who isn't, right? So a lot of you had people who said no. right? That's interesting information. Or like you're trying to find people in relationships and you only have a few of them that are actually in a relationship. It limits you, right? So this type of research is so challenging because these terms can mean such different things to different people. People are uncomfortable, but I wanted you to have a little opportunity to do that. So I hope you enjoyed it, or at least some of you enjoyed it. What I want you to do, we have like 5 or so minutes left. Make sure that you have a piece of paper with all of your first and last names on it. You're gonna give that to me, that's what the points for doing the activity. If you want to email me anything that you gathered, like whether it's like, I know some of you have like graphs and charts and things. If you want to send it to me, please do, I would be happy to look at it. And if not, that's okay too. So I wanna give you a couple of minutes to kind of wrap up as a group, get that piece of paper, you can just put it up here as you leave. And then don't forget to also sign in if you didn't already. Next class on Wednesday, we move on to chapter 4. Okay, so we're skipping 3 for now, so chapter 4 is next. So thank you so much for being here and doing that. Turn that in as you go, and I'll see you all on Wednesday. Nice job, everybody. Nice job.